Some metals are reactive and become ions by losing electrons. Ions of not so reactive metals will gain those electrons and become pure metals. You've studied this concept in many lessons so far in this unit. Many chemical reactions happen and can be explained using the same concept. Sometimes substances will combine or split or replace during the chemical reaction while electrons are being transferred. After all, those valence electrons determine the reactivity of elements. In this lesson, you will learn some new vocabulary terms, but the concept is nothing new, okay? The two important keywords in this video are reduction and oxidation. When a substance gains electrons, we say that it is reduced. When the substance loses electrons, we say that it is oxidized. Let's look at one at a time. When a substance gains electrons, it is a reduction reaction. For example, remember copper ions gained electrons and became pure copper metal, right? That was a reduction reaction because the copper ions, Cu2+, gained negatively charged electrons and became neutral copper atoms. I know it kinda doesn't make sense that we say reduction when electrons are actually gained, but it's because the term reduction was created before scientists knew about electrons. It just stuck around and we still use the term reduction for gaining electrons. Another confusing thing about it, and many students have a hard time sometimes, is that the charge will decrease when electrons are gained. But that's because electrons are negatively charged. When you gain something negative, the charge will decrease even though you're gaining something. Look at the example again. When Cu2+ gains electrons, it becomes Cu. The charge is 0. 2+ became 0 by gaining 2 electrons. Now always remember that electrons are negatively charged. Let's move on to the other term, oxidation. When the substance loses electrons, it is an oxidation reaction. For example, when a reactive metal like magnesium becomes ions, we say that it is being oxidized. It is an oxidation reaction. It's the opposite of reduction, right? This one too, you have to be careful that when losing electrons, the charge will increase because you're losing electrons that are negatively charged. If you lose something negative, the charge will become positive. The concept of reduction and oxidation is very important. You should memorize which one's which. One way to memorize is to use this acronym OIL-RIG. OIL-RIG. What does OIL-RIG mean? Oxidation is loss. Reduction is gain. OIL-RIG. Oxidation is loss of electrons and reduction is gain of electrons. Another one I used to use was Leo says grrr. Losing electron is oxidation and gaining electrons is reduction. I like this one, but it's kinda hard for me to pronounce grrr. Leo says grrr. In a chemical reaction, one reactant loses electrons and one gains them. That's why oxidation and reduction reactions always happen together. For example, for copper ions to gain electrons, those electrons have to be lost by magnesium metal. The combination of reduction and oxidation reactions is called a redox reaction or oxidation reduction reaction, but redox would be easier.